Regrettably, I could do nothing to prevent the disaster which devastated Tristram. It would appear that our greatest fears have come to pass. Diablo, the Lord of Terror, has once again been set loose upon the world. As a token of my gratitude, I will identify items for you at no charge.
Playing Diablo is like riding a freaking bike. Don't agree? It's true. Think about it. Dig deep down into your soul. Ask yourself the question, what is Diablo like playing? It's like riding a bike. And I'm here to say, at least at this stage, that may not be a wonderful thing, and here's why. I find when I get in now, I've settled on a spec that I'm very happy with my main character, who is a wizard. His name is Gerp. If you see him on the street, wave. He's real friendly. Although he may wave back and it will cause a fireball to hit you. But anyway, this is not the point. When I get in and I'm running a public rift, or I'm just hanging out, or, you know, doing some bounties, whatever I'm up to, I immediately feel very comfortable with who he is and how I'm going to play him and the timing of everything. And, you know, like any game where you've played it enough, it's coming naturally to you. And even if you don't get a bunch of new gear to help propel your character forward, you're still going to dominate more or get better at the game because you are simply mastering its mechanics in a way that improve efficiency across the board. And I'm kind of right there right now with that. And that's good, but it also starts to feel, and I don't really blame Diablo for this, it's kind of a game problem. But like any game like this where you start to master it, it starts to feel like, okay, what am I actually doing? I'm just sort of muscle memory my way through this thing. Am I noticing these cool mobs anymore? Am I paying attention to the awesome art and scenery? Am I paying attention to the music? Am I paying attention to any of this lore that maybe I'm retreading a lot of now in Endgame? But do you know what I mean? I mean, at some point, it reminds me of raiding in an MMO like WoW. You do that enough, and pretty soon all you're seeing is nameplates, health bars, and damage numbers, and heal numbers, and, you know, the math of the game starts to become what you see. You begin to see the Matrix, really. You're like Neo in front of that screen with all the green characters dropping down. Instead of seeing it for what it actually is, which is this epic, mythic, you know, dark dungeon crawling, vanquish evil kind of thing. And that's dangerous from the point of view of somebody who really likes a game when it starts to be just boiled down to mechanics and moving left to right and no longer really appreciating the minutia of what the game has to offer. I think that's a dangerous place to be in terms of your overall enjoyment of the experience. And I've run into that a little bit lately. Do you want to know my solution? Because I'm not here just to adjust my microphone. I'm not here just to give you problems. I got 99 problems and a wizard ain't one. I'm here to give you also solutions. My solution is to read books in the Diablo universe and the short stories online. Why, you ask? Honestly, I think the reason those things exist. By the way, if you hear a bunch of laughing in the background, that's not my fault. Hear that? There's kind of a party happening next door that I'm avoiding to do this show. So, once again, thinking of you guys first, right? Anyway, bottom line is, what was the bottom line? There is no bottom line. What I was saying is, I read those books, and I'm suddenly taken back into the space of the world and of the lore and of the feel and of the point, you know? Because it's so easy just to get wrapped up in how do I get these, how am I getting my Paragon levels? How quickly can I do this? And I don't want to poo-poo on anyone's parade who thinks that's the way Diablo was meant to be. And in many ways it is, but I don't want to lose touch with what makes it cool and what makes it feel right. I mean, mechanically it can feel right, but I want to feel, I don't know, I want to feel the sense of danger and of purpose and of questiness, you know? And maybe there's no way to eliminate that completely until we get new content. Because a lot of this is just, you know, it's designed to be a bit of a treadmill toward the end. And accepting it for what it is perhaps okay. I just want to not lose touch with it. So, read a book. That's what Geordie LaForge would tell you to do. Read a book.
Hey Scott, it's Walter again. So I got a question. Now that the auction house is like completely out of the game, there's no real reason for the game to be always online now, besides like a protection against DRM. Do you think that they would be introducing mods back in the game later on? I know that was big with Diablo 2 to keep the game going. Just a thought.
All right. I disagree. I don't think that the game, I think losing the auction house or having the auction house in the first place was not the reason for the on all the time connection. These were two very separate things. The auction house was there to protect against black market sales of characters, items, whatever, and that kind of tomfoolery going on behind the scenes, which was a big, scary piece of business with Diablo 2, right? And that was the thing that got out of hand, and Blizzard never really got a handle on it. So they were trying to kill that with this. I think what they missed, or the point that they missed with all of that, was having an online connection all the time and having the servers be the go-between solved this problem anyway. I mean, you always had to authenticate and get in through Battle.net in the past, don't forget. You couldn't play the game. I mean, you could play single player offline, but you couldn't play the game in any kind of multiplayer or ranked way without being connected to their servers, and even then they were getting hacked. But the point is that the goal they needed to accomplish with both less hacking, no black market, and all of that has been accomplished already with the online all the time connection thing, and the auction house really didn't do much to make that better, or even worse. Well, it made the game worse, but you know, it just was kind of useless. Maybe they thought it would make them money. I don't know. You could argue that point, and you know, or maybe it was two-factor protection. But in the end, what they really wanted is what they were already getting with an online connection all the time, which is protection. DRM, can't play it unless you have an account. You know, can't hack it, can't put in stuff that can screw with the game or make you Uber online or any of these things. And I am 100% totally okay with it. It has not been a problem for me at all. That rocky start, that day or two where they had some problems with the servers, that is ancient history. That is 2 years ago. They don't do that anymore. This expansion launched without any issues like that. No connectivity problems. Really isn't a problem. Now, to answer the larger question, should we get mods back in the game? I would love to see that, but what will probably have to happen, if it happens at all, is it will end up being Blizzard's... Oh gosh, they're so loud out there. I apologize. It will be Blizzard. It will be on Blizzard to control that. Think about the way they handle the StarCraft 2 arcade stuff. It'd be something in that vein. So they'll have... I'm not saying they're going to, but if they did, and I'm saying that I think they could. I don't know how big of a priority this would be, but they just have to have a way for you to create stuff for the game, StarCraft 2 style, put it in there, have them have it on some kind of store, downloadable whatever. Play it at your leisure. Why not, man? I'd play a little Dota game. You know, a little Diablo Dota, or whatever they want to make. I actually think it'd be a great idea. And they were kind of slow to do their full implementation in StarCraft as well. So it isn't like this is unprecedented. But again, they've never announced it. There's no plans that I'm aware of. But surely they could. And you know, we can always hope, right? Want to say thank you and hello again, and thanks for stopping by and saying hi if you came to Nerdtacular this year. I got a lot of people saying, ooh, love the Diablo show. Thanks for getting me back in the game. It was a really fun event last weekend, and that was responsible for why we didn't have a show last weekend. In fact, it's weird to think that a week ago today, we were almost over again. That's just crazy. But it was great to see you guys all there. That was totally fun. The only downside, a few shows did not get made as a result, and this was one of them, but I'm glad to be back. So, we got some highlights from this week's Theorycraft Thursdays. Number one highlight is they're going to change it. They're going to call it something else. No more Theorycraft in the name, man. Because what is happening is it's sort of becoming a general questionnaire night when they do these streams. It's kind of less about, let's Theorycraft a character, and more about what's going on with the game and what are the plans and stuff like that. So they said, and there's just a few highlights, they said there will be more developer streams in the future as the PTR evolves, and those will be more question-oriented rather than focusing on specific builds. So still focused on what the future of the game is and what's happening on the PTR, but less, you know, less, how come my freaking Crusaders got +2 to... Who cares? That stuff's not fun. I know it is for some. I don't want to discount your enjoyment wherever you may find it, but for me, it's not as interesting. Rift progress is based on monster XP, not what I thought it was, which was... I need some clarification on this, and I couldn't find it. I swear, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, we talked about on the show, or I talked about on the show, about how it was 1,000 mobs, or 999 mobs is what got your meter full to then get the Guardian to pop. And they indicated that the Rift progress is based on monster XP. Now, I missed the live thing, and there may have been some context there that said, well, they're talking about greater rifts, or heroic something, or something else. I don't know. So maybe that's the case. But the impression I'm getting from everything I'm reading and can find on the forums, Rift progress is and always has been based on monster experience points and how much each of them have. Now, maybe that equates to around 1,000 of them. Maybe depending on how many sub-bosses and stuff you run into. That's interesting. If that's true, I don't know why the other rumor propagated the way it did. Also, generally speaking, they said this, Blizzard tries not to modify existing items if it makes those worse for some builds. Instead, newly dropped items will have their changed stats, while existing items mostly remain the same. Developers have been trying to move away from the sheet, I think they meant sheer DPS being considered too important. I don't know why they put sheet, or unless that's a term I just don't know. Isn't DPS always important, though? I mean, think about your MMO days, man. I mean, yeah, even the crowd out there laughed when I said it. Did you hear that? Super obnoxious. Yeah, DPS is always important. And what are you going to do? You can't change the value in the minds of gamers. I mean, you can try to fiddle around with systems and core concepts and stuff in the game, but in the end, people are going to still... That's what they're going to aim for. I mean, survivability is important, and, you know, healing and toughness and all that stuff's great, but in the end, people just want to pew-pew. They want to create some damage, a little mayhem. They said these things are good for us as players, and they also said, could this be the new way Blizzard gets... Oh, this is my question, actually. Could this be the new way Blizzard gets information to us, meaning live streams? I mean, when's the last time they did a BlizzCast? It's been years. Do you guys even remember that? It was like their big podcast effort, and then they just stopped, and that was it. And then, well, they stopped, and they started doing like a video thing, and then that stopped. And then they started doing a WoW like developer roundtable thing with Morgan Webb, and I think that's still going, but that's super rare, and that's only for WoW. What happened? They had ideas. They were going to do things. Didn't happen. Didn't go anywhere. It's too bad. Anyway, live streams, that's where it's at now. Watch for it. It's the hot new thing.
Scott, you dirty, fallen excrement, you have convinced me to purchase Diablo and its expansion and StarCraft while I was at it because of the wonderful, wonderful podcast you put on. I'm normally a console player. I just recently got back into PC gaming after a long absence and had plenty of stuff to keep me busy. But for your constant badgering, I was forced to purchase the games, and to be honest, I can't wait to get in there and
forced
and see what's going on. So thanks, and keep up the great work. You know, I'm obviously not upset with you.
Did he?
And bye.
Thanks, man. Did you call me a piece of fallen excrement? Did I hear that right? Not sure how to take that. Been getting this for years, though. Hey, your shows got me back in the game, like World of Warcraft on the instance, or Diablo here. I'm fine with that. I love in these games, man. I want to play them all the time. I'm like you, though. I have my cycles. I have times where I just kind of need to get away for a while and not play as much. But I'm happy to hear when you've come back in, and it's partially my fault. So welcome back, man. I hope you enjoy it. How do you guys feel about the big news that Rob Pardo, longtime Blizzard bigwig, one of really the top 3 at Blizzard, he's part of the Trinity, right? You got Morheim, you got Pardo, and you got, oh crap, who's the other guy? I almost said Wayne Johnson, which isn't even Dwayne Johnson. Who am I thinking of? Oh, Frank Pierce, duh. So, Frank and Frankenberry, Frank and Morheim, Pierce and Morheim, founders, right? Co-founders. Early days. Original guys. 2 of the originals. In a small way, well, in somewhat of a way, Rob Pardo is a kind of a Johnny-come-lately. Now, it's 17 years later that he's leaving. So he's been there 17 years. So he's very early on at Blizzard, no question. But this really does make him pretty senior, and maybe one of the most senior people to be moving on. He says, after 17 years at Blizzard with long and careful contemplation, I have made a difficult and bittersweet and ultimately exciting decision to pursue the next chapter in my life and career. Goes on to say, I will sort of just summarize this is the word I meant to say. He's going to take some time off, spend some time with family, play a bunch of video games, and think long and hard about what his next step will be. I made this prediction on the instance. I will stick to it here. He is going to probably start an independent studio and do some small stuff for mobile platforms, PC probably. I mean, he has enough clout and money to do just about anything he wants. I do not expect him to get hired by some big publisher or developer, though. This isn't a Greg Street move, you know. It's not quite the same where he went to Riot. I think that if Pardo's going to do anything, it would end up being like, you know, start a small studio and build a game he really wants to build. And publish it independently, or, you know, even kickstart it or something. But, you know, anybody who thinks he's headed over to EA or something is smoking the crack. No way he does that. Anyway, best of luck to Rob Pardo. At Blizzard, you will be missed.
Hey, Scott. Mike here from Houston. Love what you're doing with the show, and I hope the producers give you another option for another season. So, on the serious stuff, Spell Slingers. I've been listening to you since the Instance and the Diablo podcast and noticed some similarities in character selections between you and me. My main is a WoW level 90 Troll Frost Mage Kutala, and I'm about to hit level 70 with a Mage in Diablo. Always loved the Spell Slinger class, and I tried other classes as well. You know, I've tried some issues with Paladins, Rogues, Druids, Death Knights, even when Wrath came out, but it seems like I just get lost in the fray of movement, game effects, and just flat out mad button mashing. I'm not a tank. However, my experience in running other spell slinger classes such as warlocks and priests in WoW, and the full range of the enchantress and the necromancer in Diablo, have always given me hours of enjoyment. So, with that being said, I'd like to see what your insight might be on a potential Diablo spellcaster. I got an idea for like an elementalist, a mage that uses the 4 elemental types to get buffs, benefits for fighting with elemental opposites, water, fire, air, earth, etc. Maybe conjure some elementals, familiars, fight along with you, or maybe they can just modify a priest and a warlock and toss that in there. Bye.
Okay, totally with you, man. I'm a big I'm a big fan of ranged magic. I'm a big fan of magic in general when it comes to classes, and I always kind of lean that way, although I like hunters a lot in WoW. But, you know, demon hunters are cool in this game, but I haven't really given them the time that they need because I'm not feeling it the way I do my wizard. The wizard is totally my speed, my jam. And yeah, the game, you know, you could argue the game's got plenty of melee with monks, crusaders, and barbarians. And we've got some decent at range with demon hunters. And you could argue the witch doctor is a spellcaster, but it's a very different kind of spellcaster. I feel like they would do well to come up with something that, you know, did a little more in that way. I don't know what it would be, though. I really do feel like when we get an expansion again, assuming we do, we got to, right? The new class they introduce, I just have to think it's going to be necromancer or druid. And I lean toward druid. I don't know why. Not that I lean toward it. I would prefer a necro, honestly. I loved that in the last game. But I feel like druid is on their mind. I don't know why. I don't know why. Just a prediction. Could really go necro, though. Big fan of the necromancer in Diablo 2, so that would be cool. But yeah, something like that. Elementalist is a great idea. Something that just sort of harnesses weather and whatever. The problem is the wizard kind of does a lot of that already, so to really distinguish itself, you'd have to kind of go a very different way. Like an earth specialist might be fun. Like a Thurgist, you know? Somebody who can conjure giant hills out of the ground or pillars of dirt, or I don't know what they would do. Big clods that would come out of the earth and fly down on your foes, or benefit your team by hardening skin, or there's all sorts of stuff you could do with a good earth-based kind of shamanistic type, I'd be all down with that. We shall see. Will we? Won't we? Can we? All right, we're going to talk real briefly about the console versions. A lot of talk about the console versions. They're coming out in August, so all you console players are stoked, right? I'm kind of excited because I want to see the couch co-op and play with my son that way. Console version, the big question, though, for a lot of players, and we've sort of touched on this in the past, but I want to hit on it a little bit deeper, and we have some news in this regard now. Will the console versions get all this great new 2.1 stuff? I mean, that's all the talk right now, right? Greater rifts, legendary gems, so on and so forth. The console version right now, I mean, people I think they kind of just assume, oh, well, that'll just ship the way things are right now. No. They're like 2.05, probably a day one patch to 2.06, but that's it. So you'll have Loop 2.0, you'll have a few tweaks and stuff, you'll have your Crusader, and you'll have your console exclusives. But none of this stuff we're talking about future things, the seasons, the laddered system, the freaking greater rifts, all that new content. There's no plans for that as of yet. The exact quote is this: "We don't have an answer for you right now. That said, I can confirm that the UEE, that's the Ultimate Evil Edition, will ship on all platforms with all updates included up to patch 2.05, and that there will likely be a day one patch to add patch 2.0.6 content as well. As we move closer to the ship and finalize our post-launch patching plans, we'll be sure to keep you updated." Great question, they say. I think that's code for it is quite likely we will not have those items in that game. I think they're playing Cards Against Humanity over there. Can you hear them screaming? What other game elicits that kind of freak out? Anyway. I'm trying to talk about Diablo in here, damn it. Anyway, yeah, you're not gonna, I hate this, okay? I'm not happy about this, but I don't think they're gonna have that kind of development cycle. They want a really solid console game that stands on its own, and I think that's where it ends. I really do. And that's probably not a great thing to hear if that's the only version of this game you're going to play. you kind of got to go where the efforts are. And right now, Blizzard cares most about their PC development on all their games. They're not gonna put their best foot forward or their best people on the console stuff. That's not where their bread is buttered. They will make a good quality game. It will be a bug-free experience. They will patch it when it's needed to be because they found some weird bugs. Stuff like that that'll be good. You get the usual high-quality treatment. But I don't think it's meant to be this ongoing living beast of a game that the PC version and the Mac version will continue to be. I say that with sadness because I kind of wish that would be. And again, they may prove me wrong. Maybe they change their entire outlook on that. But I think you can look at Diablo 3's release on PS3 and 360 as examples of they're only going to take that so far. You can't even buy this Reaper stuff as an expansion to those games. You've got to buy the whole new full game. Which isn't too bad. I guess, what is it, 49? So it's maybe $10 less than a typical release, so it's not too bad, but just trying to be realistic, people. Trying to look at this from the perspective that will get us the most traction. We'll have notes in the show notes about, or links so you can go read more about what they said. Finally, in the news, your dude can dance now. Oh my goodness! If you're running a PTR install on your system, so you're running PTR tested characters in patch 2.1.0 on the PTR, all classes got a /dance command. WoW style. Type /dance in the chat window. And watch your dude gyrate to the sweet sounds of I don't know what. The song in his head. His or her head. Kind of a weird thing to add, isn't it? Considering the social implementation of this game is not quite like an MMO where you're in town and you just sort of dance around for no reason. If you're in a multiplayer experience, you're either with your friends or some strangers and there's 4 of you, and nobody's just standing around dancing. They're all killing things, so I think it's a little weird. I guess if you're done selling your stuff, gemming, disenchanting, whatever you're doing, and you're waiting for everybody else before you get back in a rift or whatever, I guess you could dance. It's a little weird. It's a little weird somebody took some time to work on that. But hey, whatever. We didn't know it was coming. Brand new stuff. Can't look that gift horse in the mouth.
Hey, Scott. Kralik here. Just wanted to let you know that it's Kadollerhah, not Kadollerhah. Stick to the script, goddammit.
I know who it is. I know that's her name. You missed the joke. You totally missed the joke. I call her Kadollerhah. It's Kadollerhah, not Kadollerhah. I say Kadollerhah because it's spelled like Kesha, but with a dollar in the middle. The singer. The Friday, not Friday. What's her song? Hey, my daughter's in here. Carter, what's a good Kadollerhah song? Kesha, give me one. Right, what's the song? Give me one. It's the weekend. We're freaking douchebags. Do. Is that it?
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's not it. Anyway, the joke is her name reminds me of Kesha's, or as we call her, Kadollerhah. It's an old joke. Because you got the dollar in the middle, right? So you pronounce it instead of an S. It's a dollar symbol. So Kadollerhah. Plus, she's sucking my money in the form of blood shards every time I go near her. So she's Kadollerhah, and that's why I do it. It's not because I don't know. I know. I know what's going on, man. Freaking relax. Ooh, looky here. It's like Christmas. We got some emails, and you guys are so generous with your emails and your calls. A reminder, send your emails to thediabloshow@gmail.com. That's thediabloshow@gmail.com. And as always, if you want to get a phone call on the show, you guys sent less this week. I know it's summer. People are busy. 4th of July weekend. I get it. But get back on the stick, man. I need your stuff. 206-278-0553. That's 206-278-0553. Or you can use that earlier said email address, thediabloshow@gmail.com, to leave your attachments in MP3 format or whatever your little voice memo does on your phone. Except that weird freaking crap that comes out of you BlackBerry users. I don't know what those files are. I can't use them. I mean, I could look into it, I guess, but I don't want to. Send me MP3s, M4As, whatever your phone supports. Android and the iOS stuff is fine. Got an email here. Let's read the first one. This is from Kyle. He says, "Hey, Scott, this is Kyle, all the way from England. So excited to write this email to the show as I've just had an incredible session in the game. So I logged into my level 19 Crusader, and my friend jumped in, who is a level 70 Wizard, and we just started doing some bounties and a few rifts, and before I knew it, I am level 37. That is a great way to level. A friend of mine jumps in, so I bump it up to Torment 6 with 2 hours. Within 2 hours, I am freaking 67, and I got around 8 legendaries. They were just tearing up that Torment 6 rift like it was nothing. It was insane. By the way, you have to start the game. They can't, or you're dead. That's what you did, so you know what you're doing, but just so people know. There's me thinking, oh, I just run through story mode again. Glad I didn't do that glad I didn't do that. Adventure mode is so awesome. Loving the game and love the show, though. Thanks. Yeah, I did that with my Crusader for a huge chunk of his levels, and that was super fast. And I try to do it when I can with friends with Gerp the Wizard, but I'm a little behind on. I'm not the Paragon Lord that everyone else seems to be. I haven't had the playtime lately, but I'll get there. I'll get there. Need a few good runs with some really geared out dudes, and then pretty soon you're 5 Torment levels in a half an hour. That's a good time right there. Thanks for the email, Kyle. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good time. Don Abignale, a.k.a. Gromit, wrote in, says, "Hey, Scott, what do you think about having some sort of DPS chart or damage meter during rifts? I always wonder how I'm doing in relation to the group, and it's often hard to tell who's doing what amidst all the chaos." I agree. It's bananas in there sometimes. I think it'd be fun and useful to have that stat and make rifts a little more engaging and dynamic. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on the great Diablo show. Regards, Don Abignale. So I would say I hate those. I don't mind them for me to sort of see how I'm doing and compare to how I was doing and say, all right, well, how can I improve? Like improving my own play, that's interesting to me. But like Recount and other mods for World of Warcraft that tell you how you're doing in relation to everybody else, I feel like just sows seeds of content or discontent. Where people are just irritated because you're not as high, or you should be coming with your A game and you're not, or at least what they think that should be, and that's relative to what? I mean, I don't even know. I hate the judgment of it. There's weird peer pressure with it. So if you're just talking about yourself, that's cool. If it's all to say, all right, which one of the 4 of us is doing the best output, I don't know what the value of that is. One of the things I like about Diablo is that it's fun. If I pick a spec because I like how it feels, I'm way more interested in that than theory crafting the absolute most, squeeze out the most DPS possible out of a build. And the game is good and friendly for that direction of play. Now, you can also still do the other, and that's fine, but I'm not in it for comparing myself to everybody else. I hate that. I'm done with games that want me to do that. In fact, I turned Recount off in WoW, and I don't care anymore. It's going to be good enough for kick me out of your group, okay? One way or the other. I'm not here to have everyone pull out their wieners and see who's his biggest. So I understand what you're saying, and I'm with you if you mean individually. But as a group, not really. I don't really want to. Nad Nerb wrote in. Says, "Hey, Scott, recently I saw a post on a game journalist site showing that you can connect your gamer tag to your Battle.net account. Is there a possibility of transferring characters from our PC Diablo to console version of Diablo? Thanks, Nad Nerb." Well, Nad Nerb. Sounds like a growth. A genital growth, your name. No, I don't think there's any chance of that happening. I would be utterly shocked if anyone, well, maybe there's a hacker way to do it, but if there is any way that Blizzard would make it possible for PC Diablo to go to console, there's no way. There's no way. They're not doing that. Resources better spent elsewhere, is my feeling on that. It's not going to happen. I think they want to keep those ecosystems separate anyway. Plus, there's a lot of differences between the console version and this. Like we mentioned earlier, you're going to be on a version that the console version is nothing like. You're going to have tweaked stats. You're going to have gear that has different numbers on it than the console version even recognizes. There's no way. Not a chance. There's also items you can only get on the PC, and there will only be items you can get on that console version. And ne'er the twain shall meet. Mark my words, man. There's no way. Sean wrote in, finally, one final email, says, just letting you know that I'm moving an item to your stash and IDing it with another character does not work. Not that he's moving one to my stash, but you know what he means. He's saying that you can't put it in there as a wizard and then have your Demon Hunter, say, for example, pick it up and have it stat for him, like I had said was possible. And I've been told a billion times that I'm wrong, so I'm glad I'm finally airing this. I tried it Friday, right after hearing about it on your podcast. I got weapons on my monk, and I opened it with my wizard, and they always roll dexterity, never intelligence. I tried this 5 times to rule out the trolls, troll rolls, rather, and each time it was dex main stat roll. Love the show, Sean. Sean, you're right. I was wrong, and so was that caller that called in and said that that's what worked for him. Now, you can go... I mean, you could still do it, and then go... do some enchanting stuff and kind of do some workarounds, but it's not optimal. So at the core of this, you're right. You're totally right. I stand corrected, everybody. I was a fool. All right, I got some good news, some great news. So we've had some contests come and go. We did that cool skate deck. Before that, we did some copies of the game, expansion keys, stuff like that. I'm happy to report that I got something new to give. Blizzard has, they sent us a bunch of cool stuff for Nerdtacular to give away, and I held on to a couple of them because I wanted to use them as giveaways here. And these are those Pop Toy Diablo and Tyrael dolls, like figures. And I'm going to be tweeting during the week between now and and episode 12, our final episode of the season, showing pictures of it and also asking you guys to participate in a contest to win them. So we're going to start giving them away during the week this week. There are multiples of them, so many of you will win. Haven't quite decided how they'll be given away. Maybe random people on Twitter. Could be something you have to enter. I don't know. But keep your eye on the Twitter account at The Diablo Show on Twitter. If you follow it, even if you're not a big Twitter user, that will at least ensure that you'll be aware of what's going on when I go live with it. And we'll see if we can't get you guys some more cool swag. Might have a couple of shirts left, too. I got to go check the boxes we brought back with us. Those may have all gone, but if not, we'll toss you some of that stuff as well. I know I have some old Warcraft 3 hats we could throw in. But either way, wouldn't it be fun to win some things? Damn straight it would be. So keep your eye on the prize, as they say, and I'll let you know. Again, this week, at The Diablo Show on Twitter. Follow it. Did you know there's a way to support the show? Were you aware of this? Did you know this? It's real simple. Get the Loot Pinata exclusively for the show. You can find it at frogpants.com/store, or you can go to frogpants.com/Diablo. It's linked over there as well. And you can pick this thing up. Prints, stickers, coasters for your drinks and stuff. Printed comics, signed by me. What else can you ask for, man? It's cool. It's awesome. And lots of people are doing it, like Chris Blum, Andre Lazar, Roger Claymere, I don't know how you say your last name, Leo Seaman. That's a good name, dude. Leo Seaman. Or is it Seaman? Seaman. Anyway, they have all contributed, among others, and you, too, could be a great supporter of the show. It's really why I'm able to do it. I've got to make the bills pay, and this helps a lot. And you get something really cool in return. And it's not expensive. Go to frogpants.com/store. Pick up your Loot Pinata today. Oh man, that's going to do it for this episode of the Diablo Show. A little shorter today. Not a giant news cycle the last couple of weeks. That's okay, though. But I am happy to be back doing it. Big final episode next week. Can't wait to bring that one to you, so make sure you tune in for that. A couple things to round it out today. frogpants.com/Diablo for show notes and links to old episodes, links to iTunes, links to the RSS feed. We are on Stitcher. We are on iTunes. We are on apps, cool apps like Downcast, Pocket Cast, Android stuff, iOS stuff, the web, SoundCloud, everywhere. If you're looking for the show, you're going to freaking find it. Frogpants.com/Diablo is where you want to go. The Diablo Show at gmail.com is our email address. At The Diablo Show on Twitter. You can follow me at Scott Johnson if that's something you'd prefer to do. We put a version of this on YouTube as well, so you can check that out at my YouTube channel. There's a link in the show notes for that. And don't forget our phone number. That is the biggest deal here. I love it when you guys call in. You have always great things to say, and I am expecting good things between now and next week's final episode of the first season at 206-278-0553. That's 206-278-0553. And, of course, that number's on the site as well. We got a call from Deckard Cain coming up. Stay tuned for that. That's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you again for episode 12.
Greetings. Today's letter comes from D3Fan667. He writes, Dear Deckard, what is your favorite class? What a fantastic question. One I'll have to think about a little bit. I mean, how do I pick one above another? I know when I was younger, I would have told you I didn't much care for any of them. But the truth is, I'd learned so much by experience that eventually they all came to have a special place in my heart. I'm sure you'll experience this too as you go through this journey called life. Anyway, thinking back on it, I remember a class that was about the end of days. Oh, it was a wonderful class. We spent hours talking about the return of the prime evils. I remember I was so riveted, I wrote everything down. I was so excited, I actually broke my quill as I wrote. Oh, that's how you tell you're really on a roll learning something. So I had to get another...
This podcast is part of the FROGPANTS Studios Network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.